Your forecast first, sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. We start off this morning with fog. We don't really have that much rain yet, but that's going to be heading its way in here. We got some higher chances, but satellite radar picture not going to be too impressive. Of course, it's looking a little higher up into the atmosphere for you and not seeing a lot, if any, sort of precipitation at all. Now, as far as your current temperatures, they are warmer than yesterday morning for sure. Upper 60s and lower 70s. A little more mugginess with the fog that is in place. But as we go later into the day, the fog lifts, the rain chances arrive. Not that much sunshine, though, as highs will generally be around the upper 70s and the lower 80s. We'll talk about when the fog gets out of here, plus we'll have a look at the rain chances and when to expect those here in a bit. WCIA 3 News starts now.
You're watching your local news leader. This is The Morning Show on WCIA 3 News.
Well, hundreds took to the streets at the University of Illinois. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm McLeod Hageman.
And I'm Christy Batista. If you're an Illini fan, many of those faces were familiar.
That's right. The football team led the protest with other student athletes and staff members, while community members joined in that effort. The group marched from Grange Grove to the Champaign Police Department, where they knelt to honor victims of police brutality.
Hopefully, we have a bunch of different skin tones out here, different people who come from different backgrounds. And that's the goal of this all together, to unify.
Illini football's Kendrick Green says it meant a lot to see community members and athletes from other teams come out for this. We'll hear more from the Illini community coming up later in sports.
Dozens of U of I students are being investigated for breaking COVID-19 rules. University officials say roughly 100 students are accused of violating quarantine orders or hosting large parties. 2 students and 1 fraternity, Pi Kappa Phi, face punishment. Both Champaign and Urbana have issued emergency orders to fight the spread of COVID-19. Partygoers and hosts who don't follow social distancing rules can be fined up to $750 per day.
Well, Champaign County has 49 new COVID-19 cases, putting the county above 500 active. The good news, the positivity rate is still well below 1%. But that's not the case in McLean County. Through the weekend, their rolling 7-day positivity rate was at 10.3%. Then they've reported 146 new cases. That follows Sunday's mark of 219. There are nearly 1,700 active cases with 16 deaths. There are more than 1,600 new cases of COVID-19 in the state, however.
But the positivity rate has dropped. It's now back down to 4.1%. There are now more than 235,000 cases in Illinois. 7 more people have died. There are more than 8,000 deaths from COVID-19 across the state.
And the number of students in the Danville district has dropped from last year by about 7%. School leaders are rushing to get everyone enrolled before school starts a week from today. They're down about 300 students from this time last year, with fewer than 4,400 students. Meantime, some private schools are seeing a growing interest.
Some of them don't have the opportunity to actually be home with their kids while they're being taught remotely. They don't all have a problem with remote learning. Some of them it's just not possible for their families.
And Danville Public School leaders will be going door to door tomorrow to get more families to sign their kids up for those classes.
Early this morning, the fog is going to be out there for a few of us. Now, again, if you are a little closer to I-57, you might be seeing the fog just a bit more. Right now in Champaign, noticing some of it, and seeing it in Gibson City. I know it's dark, but you can barely see that there is that haze, sort of like that disruption in the view that you're noticing. But Mattoon and Charleston, it looks like things are okay in Dandy, at least in Dandy inside of the cities there. Storm tracker Doppler, nothing falling in from the sky for us yet. We got a large complex farther to the south that's going to be providing them some nice beneficial rain. Of course, some storms down there too. Arkansas, southern parts of Missouri. Up towards us, though, we got another little branch that's going to be heading its way closer into our viewing area, and that will help to provide a better chance of rain than what we had back on yesterday. But it is also going to continue to probably dissipate as it heads its way in here. But hey, for the time being, we are going to keep more of those chances on the higher side. Plus, we're going to keep things a little warmer this morning. Upper 60s and maybe some lower 70s here and there. Lower 60s closer to Effingham. It's going to be a foggy start. Make sure to use those low beams. We'll get that rain on in here and hopefully get a good amount for those of us who need it. Late week, though, a cool down is on the way with more sunshine. We'll talk about that later. Christy and Mac.
Thanks, Adam. New this morning, some people say they woke up to shots fired in Champaign.
And they were called to Oakwood Terrace Apartments at around 4 o'clock. Police say they didn't find anything. We'll keep you updated as we learn more details.
And Decatur police are investigating after 2 people were shot. This happened on South Webster Street near East Cleveland Avenue. We told you on the morning show yesterday about a shooting near South Webster and East Clay. A man and a woman were hurt there. But this is the second shooting in less than 24 hours. Police say 2 men were hurt. They were taken to the hospital. They do not have any suspect information. A Georgetown man had to be airlifted to the hospital after crashing his motorcycle while trying to get away from police.
And that happened last night on Route 1 and Main Street in Westville. Police say they were trying to stop 29-year-old Shane Green. He ran a stoplight where another car had just pulled into the intersection, and then they collided. Green is charged with aggravated fleeing and eluding, driving with a revoked license, and meth possession.
The Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, or LIHEAP, will be available even earlier than in years past. You can get help about a month earlier than usual, actually. This is a one-time payment that could go towards several power bills. You can now register online, which is also new. The program manager says the struggles that come along with COVID-19 pushed an earlier start date.
Because of the virus, so many households maybe were unemployed or had lost unemployment or had been laid off, and we felt the need to start serving people sooner.
LIHEAP managers say you should apply soon, and we can help you do that. We have a link to the registration on WCIA.com.
Well, the Decatur city leaders are preparing to set the 2021 budget in the wake of COVID-19. We told you about this on the morning show. They're predicting a revenue shortfall of at least $5 million by the end of this year, but have been able to cut spending by nearly $3 million. The city is looking at ways to cut costs next year. Leaders say they want to avoid raising taxes if at all possible.
The direction from council in the past has been to avoid as much as possible, especially in the current economy, asking our citizens to pay for additional taxes.
At this point, staff members are looking at ways to cut costs for 2021, including temporarily reducing funding to police and fire pensions for next year. The budget draft should come out in October. And we told you about the Illini marching on.
Coming up in sports, why they wanted to show people they're more than just athletes. We'll be right back.